Hey there, it's Casey. I'm here with TaxSaleAcademy.com, and thank you so much for joining me on this week's quick tip video. Today we'll be discussing the 3 tax sale purchases that you will end up regretting. Now, before we get started with that, if you are interested in learning more about tax sale investing, make sure that you hit that red subscribe button so you don't miss out on future tax sale training videos, which we post 3 times every single week. All right, let's talk about 3 tax sale purchases that you will regret. So, as a tax sale investor, the selection of properties that we have to choose from are based on the properties where the taxes were not paid on those properties. Now, there are a number of different reasons for this, but when you compare a list of tax sale properties to a list of any other sort of properties, the list of tax sale properties is going to have a significantly higher percentage of properties that are not desirable and even worthless. Now, many of these properties are available at tax sales for a reason, meaning the former owner did not pay the taxes because they didn't want to. It's extremely important for you and I as tax sale investors to understand that our ability to accurately research these properties is one of the primarily determining factors whether we succeed or not in this business. Simply put, your research equals your results. Lousy research, lousy results. And unfortunately, a lot of people only realize that their research was lousy after they've made a huge mistake. Now, I could go over dozens and dozens of different property types: landlocked properties, swampland, unbuildable little strips of land, all that kind of stuff. And there's plenty of examples of that. And I actually have quite a few videos of that here on YouTube where I'm going over the different property types. But I don't want to rehash that old information. Instead, what I want to do with today's video is provide 3 examples that often shock people when they realize they purchased those. And these are 3 things that you walk out of the auction feeling really excited about, right? You're so pumped up about it, only to realize later that you completely screwed up. The first one is something that a lot of people in this business refer to as an air condo. So generally speaking, a condo or condominium describes a parcel of real estate that will include a residence or even a commercial space like an office condominium, for example. Now, when you own a condo, you'll own what the covenants in that subdivision says you own. So typically, this will be the specific unit that you purchased, excluding the land that it sits on, which is owned along with the rest of the amenities by all of the property owners or the Property Owners Association. Now, in an example where you might own a part of those amenities, say there's 32 units, you might own 1/32 of the land, the pool, the clubhouse, and all that kind of stuff. But what happens at tax sales is that these air condos are sometimes sold. Now, you think it's a condo, but remember, when I said many condo owners don't own the land they sit on, well, envision this. You have a 2nd-story condominium. The building was demolished. What do you have now? You have a little box of air that just kind of sits there, right? That's what we refer to as an air condo. And it might have turned into an air condo by demolition, by a fire, by a sinkhole eating that building, or many other different scenarios. Or it might not have ever been built at all. Maybe the developer ran out of money before he got to that specific building, but the parcels were already split up in the county's system. The end result is that you actually walk out of an auction, the proud owner of a condo in this great complex, only to later realize you don't know anything except for that little box of air. That, by the way, you can't build on or use, and it comes with a yearly tax bill and possibly even still an HOA bill. All right, the next type of property to avoid are going to be timeshares. So timeshares are popular in states like Florida, and most real estate investors will run from these timeshares. A timeshare is simply a unit that you own for a certain amount of time. So typically, you'll have something like a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit on the beach that you own for week number 32. So the 32nd week of the year, you have the right and the ability to use that unit. The rest of the time, that unit is owned by other people. Now, timeshares are notorious for very high maintenance fees as well. So depending on where you get your data, the average yearly maintenance fee is said to be $980, excluding those property taxes. And the bummer here is if you don't pay those fees, there's a good chance that you can end up in court, as these management companies are ruthless sometimes. So the end result with this type of situation is you walk out of the auction, you're so excited because you think you've won a beautiful beachfront unit that you and your family could use forever for vacations, going on spring break, summer vacations, or maybe even making an investment and go like the VRBO route. But then you realize a few days later, you can only use it 1 week every year. And by the way, that's like in the worst time of the year for that area. And the crazy high maintenance fees, those bills have already started arriving in your mailbox, along with your taxes too. Now, the last one I want to discuss are the houses that are on Demolition List. And goodness gracious, I actually wrote about my personal experience as one of the bonus chapters in Tax Sale Playbook, and it was not a fun experience for me. What routinely happens in many areas are tax delinquent homes have sat in disrepair for a number of years. And some of those are obvious eyesores. You can drive by them and you'll know exactly which one is a tax sale house. Now, others might have issues that aren't obvious to the naked eye, perhaps bad interior mold, foundation issues, that kind of thing. So many cities will always begin with a warning. Hey, take care of your property, make it safe, fix that broken window, whatever it might be. If you don't respond, then you get that citation. And then you get many more citations. And then eventually that property is condemned, at which point the owner must do something to use that property. If it gets bad enough, the city will use their powers and their authority to demolish that property. Now, this is usually a fairly long process, multi-year type process. It's not like they just drive by 1 week, see a house that's kind of getting into disrepair, and they tear it down the very next week. What I usually see happening is somewhere between the time it's condemned and between the time when it's actually demolished, it can end up at a tax sale. So then just before or just sometime right after the sale, and I've seen it usually within like the day or two of the sale, the house is demolished. So that demolition bill, depending on who owned the property at the time it was demolished, could fall into your hands. They might demolish it the week after you purchase it at a tax sale, then suddenly you're responsible for that demolition fee of 10 to 12 grand or so. If you don't pay it, you could get sued and end up in court. And the end result here, you walk out of that auction very, very excited. You got that cheap house, but you did not realize it was on the demolition list. You're so excited for that remodel, that flip, whatever it is. When you drive by that property to go and maybe meet your contractors there to get a bid or something like that, there's nothing there except for a vacant lot and some rubble of the old house. The city's demolished your house, so now your investment is in that vacant land only. And then a week later, you get a hefty invoice, followed by maybe even a debt collector in some of these cities, and eventually a lawsuit that says, hey, you owe us for the demolition fees. So now your investment got much, much worse than you even thought possible. So there are 3 examples of tax sale purchases that you will likely end up regretting. And unfortunately, I have had experience with a couple of those myself early on in my career. So every single one of these, and truthfully, every single possible issue is completely avoidable if you do the proper research. This is truly such an incredible and lucrative business if you take the time to learn. I get the "you told me so" emails all the time from people who make mistakes and buy the wrong properties without doing the proper research. And some of these people have even taken classes from the so-called other experts out there that didn't really go into research that like I teach it. So research by far is the most important thing in this business. I know it sounds a little bit boring, but there's a very, very good reason that I have so many videos right here on YouTube even about research. And of course, we go in depth inside the Academy. So not only can it keep you out of situations like these, but can also help you identify the best opportunities and the most lucrative opportunities for you in the tax sale business. I truly hope that today's video has helped you out, and at least it'll help you avoid these 3 specific regrets that you could have in the future. For more information on tax sale investing, head on over to taxsaleacademy.com. When you're there, you grab this book right here, the Tax Sale Playbook. I want to ship you this actual book. It's a physical copy. It's not an ebook or anything like that. I bought the book for you if you just cover the nominal shipping cost to get it from our warehouse to your front door, which is less than $5 inside the US. And also, if you want the most advanced training, step-by-step training that we offer, go to that same website, taxsaleacademy.com, click on join, and become a member of the Academy. Hey, take care, folks. Make it a successful day. See ya.